Hello, listeners. His name is Aaron, and he likes his steaks sunny side up.
And his name's Tommy, and he doesn't drink orange juice for religious reasons.
And this is the Super Pod Saga. And now the theme music's done, because we're going to edit that in. And this is episode 18 of the Super Pod Saga. If you're... God. I know, right? 18.
Seems like just yesterday we just started this.
It's crazy. If you're a first-time listener, this is the podcast where Aaron and I bring a different topic to the recording room every week, and we just discuss it until there's nothing left to discuss about it. We are the be-all, end-all of various random video game topics.
That's correct. Eventually, there will be no topics left to talk about because we'll talk about all of them, but today is not one of those days.
Yeah, there's a defined end to this podcast. It's not something that's going to go on forever. It's once we finish talking about everything, then it's going to end because, yeah, there's nothing else to talk about.
Lord only knows when that will be.
No, I have no idea. Today's topic, though, I'm excited for. I sent a message to Aaron about this, but when I came up with this topic, I only had 2 games in mind. And then my brain was just like, oh, and this one, and this one, and this one. And today's topic is the best worlds to explore, or however you want to word it. It's not necessarily like open world games, but I mean, those are going to be on the list. But it's just like the worlds that you just love exploring and what it is about them that you love exploring.
Hell yeah, I've got quite a few that about 3 immediately popped into my head when you mentioned that. So I'm ready to fire those fuckers off.
Well, I'm glad you're ready because I'm going first because it's my topic. The first one to come to mind for me, and it's definitely a game we've never talked about on the show. I don't even know if you and I have talked about it, but I really, really, really love exploring in Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I've never heard you talk about Fallout before, but yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I tried Fallout 3, didn't like it. I tried it too late, and I've tried Skyrim. Well, I played it when I was too young, and I also played it when I was too old. Like, the first time I played it was in high school, and I had never played a game like Fallout 3 where you're just free to do whatever, and my high school brain couldn't handle it. Like,
too old, Tommy?
No, I was too young at that point. Because I got out of the vault into the open world. I was at my cousin's, and I was like, what do I do? And he's like, oh, you just go wherever. And I'm like, I get that. And then I tried it again years later, and it just felt the animations and stuff don't hold up, and like the combat is real clunky. But Fallout 4 was like the perfect timing for me. I was the perfect age. It was just I love about Fallout 4 is just the whole scape, the whole worldscape is just filled with stuff to stumble upon. It's like the definition of pick a spot on the map and start walking, and you'll just stumble upon things.
It's like Kicks. They're kid tested, adult tested, mother approved.
I still don't think that's right. I think you were right the first time. Kid tested, mother approved.
Fucking works.
Oh, excuse me. I just burped.
Yeah, Fallout now like Kicks flavored.
Yeah, exactly. They should run a cross promotion. I think. I don't know where to even start because there's just so much in Fallout. I love exploring the world itself, but also like going into a building. They do a really good job of, like, I know it's kind of a meme at this point, the environmental storytelling thing, especially with the Fallout skeletons. But I love finding that stuff. I love seeing things and just being like, wow, what happened here? What was this place? And they do a good job of making the places feel real and lived in. I don't remember the specific story beats, but there was a school that I went into, and I kept finding audio logs as I went through it that like advanced this own little private story about the school students and stuff happening to them. And I don't remember specifically, but I just remember being like, wow, this is a really cool storytelling device. Just it's technically like a dungeon because you're going through solving puzzles, shooting enemies, but they've also got like a story built in it specific to this area, and it's just filled with those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's the one that I played the most out of that series would be like Fallout 4, and maybe I'm thinking of a different game, but there was one vault that was had like some really neat like visual storytelling in it. It might have been Fallout New Vegas. But there's this vault where people were turning into plants or something like that. I forget exactly what was happening, but there was all sorts of little like logs and the terminals that you could find as you go through there.
Yeah,
Oh, what was it? It was something about them turning into plants or like them turning like other vault dwellers into plants or something.
I don't
But that
recall
was
that
neat.
one specifically. There was in the DLC Far Harbor, I think it was called. They had a vault where everyone was robots, and it was a murder mystery. One of the robots murdered the other one, which isn't supposed to happen because they turned themselves into robots so they could live forever, and so it's like a fun little murder mystery. They're just so creative, and yeah, just running around finding little houses and stuff. Oh, it's so good. I that's one of the few games that I just enjoyed running around to just find random things.
That is kind of cool. Robot murder mystery. That sounds like something out of Futurama.
Yeah, really.
Um, a fair warning, a couple of mine are, wait, yeah, two or three of mine are Metroidvanias because I really enjoy exploring in Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, if are you done with
Oh,
your
I'm
one?
done.
Oh,
I'm
oh,
done.
okay. The first one I had is not a Metroidvania actually. It's and this one I kind of count as two because they're kind of the same thing, or I count as one. It's like two and one basically. But the worlds of Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I would
Ooh.
bump in three, but I haven't finished three yet because it just seems like a huge slog. But we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so basically, the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 1, the world is essentially this just giant, just vast, endless, almost ocean, all except for these like two massive titans. There's the Bionis and the Mechonis. So the people of the world live on the Bionis, and then there on the Mechonis, there's these like mechanical beings called Mechonis. You'll find out more about them on this as you go in the story and everything. Um, but yeah, as you're exploring on the Bion, well, I guess on both the Bionis and the Mechonis, like as you're exploring, just as the characters, it already seems so huge and just fast, and you have to walk just so fucking far to get anywhere that it really puts into perspective just how actually huge these titans are. Like if they were to see them from a different point of view, like if they were on a ship and they saw these titans, they would be just super duper huge, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and then in the world of Xenoblade 2, the world again is just a big ocean, but it's actually just a sea of clouds, and the I guess like not necessarily continents or the nations that you live on are they they're basically on these big huge beings called titans, and they're living, breathing beings. They're constantly walking around,
Cool.
and each different nation has or each sorry each different titan has different I guess like environments or climates or whatever you want to call that. Because like there's one that's like
Biomes.
biomes. There you go. Because there's one that's more of like a beach, like ocean kind of thing. There's another one that's like more of like almost volcano-y kind of place. Um, but yeah, and basically you get from one to the other through airships, of course, because you can't just hop from a Titan to another. But yeah, it's crazy. You had these games were just like, hey, what if the world wasn't actually a world, or like, what if the world didn't have continents? They were just made up of these huge beings, and
Yeah.
that's always so original to me. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about JRPGs is just the worlds that they create are so incredibly unique. I don't know how anyone comes up with the ideas for JRPG stories, settings, everything because they're just so dense. They're so dense and like perfectly thought out and crafted with like every single detail nailed down. Like it I don't it's hard to put into words. Like
Right.
you explaining all these things in Xenoblade, like when you're playing the game, you're just like completely in that world because everything is thought out. It doesn't even feel like a video game. You're like, okay, this is what's happening. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, like there's basically all of this. What's the word? All not necessarily lore, but like you have like a baked-in knowledge of the world
Yeah,
as it is from just playing the game. If that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
another thing I should add too is that when you're um, for both games basically when you're just running around you can see parts like in the distance like not even in the sky but like in the distance you can kind of see other parts of like in the first game if you just look out or like look up I guess depending on where you're at look up or down you can see different parts of different titans from where you are like you can see like its sword or maybe like its feet depending on how high up you are or like in the second game you can see parts of the titan actually moving while you're just kind of running around on it because it's always walking. Like they only sit still to sleep, I think. But yeah, there you can see its head moving sometimes, and maybe like if it has like spikes or something on it, you can kind of see it move up and down because it's walking, and then that's pretty cool.
That's super cool. It in the opposite vein, the Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning when it came out, you just reminded me of that. You couldn't turn the camera up to look up. It was only like baseline level. So there was like so much work that went into all the cities and areas and stuff that you never got to see because you couldn't look up. And it wasn't until like the remake where they gave full camera control that everyone could actually see all the work that went into the game.
Why the fuck? Why would they do that?
I don't know.
That's great. Well,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
it is an action game. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, there was tons of detail and all the stuff that you couldn't even see in the game. Speaking though of games where you are on giant beasts, another one I had on my list was this little indie game called Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Ooh, I think I've heard of
it's a, it's a.
that.
I think they're coming out with a sequel soon. Hopefully soon.
Ooh, maybe hopefully it won't get canceled.
Yeah, but yeah, I've never been a huge Legend of Zelda fan. I've played a fair bit here and there of different games, but I've never like gotten super like everyone has their Zelda game that they love, and I didn't really have one until Breath of the Wild, and it's just so crazy like that. If you would have told us 10 years ago that Legend of Zelda is going to redefine open world design, I'd be like, what? What are you talking about, man? But it does. It's so good. I think like where Fallout 4 is like here's a bunch of things on a map that you can go to, and if you just select it and walk towards it, you'll see it. Breath of the Wild is like we're going to have you actually see things. Like we're going to put things strategically so that you'll see them and want to walk towards them.
Oh
I
yeah.
You played Breath of the Wild, right?
Oh, I mean, who hasn't?
Okay, just making sure. Do you remember? Did you play it normally, or did you play it on? I don't remember what it's called, like Explorer mode or something, where there's no mini map. There's no. It takes out a lot of the stuff.
No, I played on the normal mode. I experienced the full flavor of Breath of the Wild.
I played it on the Explorer mode, so there was no UI, no mini map. You just had to like actually do all the exploring yourself, and I loved it. It was it was so great to just like navigate on my own and to place pins places and I don't know. It's just it does such a good job of like I said, pointing out places to make you want to go there and just see what's there and finding things along the way, which shouldn't happen in a Legend of Zelda game, but it sure does. The only issue I had with that is I forgot all the button presses because it has like what each D-pad button does or whatever or everything, so I struggled at
Yeah.
times just to control the game.
I had that sometimes too in dungeons where you have to use like either the magnet thing or the freeze thing.
Yeah.
I'll be like, 'cause I'll take huge breaks from that game and come back to it, and be like, oh
Yep.
crap, what are the controls for this shit again?
I remember I stopped playing and then came back months later, and I had only like an hour left. I beat the last Divine Beast and then went and killed uh, Ganon or whatever, and I was like, "Oh dang, I could have finished this months ago." But I did finish it.
Nice. So that's one of the few games you've
Yep,
beaten then.
one of the 10.
Nice. That's good. Uh, Speaking of nice, the next one I had down was the of Saren from Ease 8. I think I've tried to talk to you about that game before, but
Yep.
it's just so sweet. So basically, the Isle of Saren is this. Well, the game starts out with all the different characters, and I should add that like, the Ease series is this huge continuation of the main characters' like adventures at all Kristen. So each game is connected in some way, shape, or form. The games aren't necessarily in chronological order, which is kind of cool. You kind of like just play through the series and put the pieces together. But um, so Edal and all the other people, or Edal and a bunch of other people, I should say, are just aboard this cruise ship, and for whatever reason, the cruise ship sinks. And everybody washes ashore on this island, the Isle of Saren. And so for most of the game, what you're doing is um, they all start this like castaway kind of village, and as you basically explore the island and find more survivors who like the more and more people you find, like the more different like services you unlock, like a blacksmith or like a doctor to make medicines, or it's like some farming area and stuff like that. And what's also cool is the it's not necessarily like an open world, like GTA 5 would be, where there's no like loading screens or anything like that. Because when you go from like one area to the next, there's a loading screen, but they do still kind of make it feel like one huge cohesive area. Because when you're I guess up top in maybe like the mountain areas, you can look down and you can see maybe like the smoke from the bonfire at Castaway Village,
Oh,
or you can
cool.
see other different areas that you recognize on the island, like maybe like the some of the beach areas that have different points of interest. And it's cool. It really just it really makes the whole island feel like one big thing, rather than maybe other games where it's just if you look into the distance and you don't see a goddamn thing. But yeah, there's all sorts of hidden areas and then items and stuff too. So it actually makes you want to explore, rather than just kind of you explore, find nothing, and the game just kind of spits in your face like, "Ha, you came here for nothing." But it's a great game. And it's not that long. I think it takes maybe like 40 hours, I think, to beat. So that seems like a Tommy game. I think you'd like it.
I was gonna say 40 hours is about my maximum limit. That's once I get to around 40 hours on something, it's either I'm gonna beat this to the end or I'm done.
Yeah, and the
Oh.
story is pretty interesting too. So it, and rather than telling you everything, maybe three-fourths of the way into the game, it really keeps you guessing until the end, because you'll start thinking you'll be like all the way on the final boss, be like, what the hell is gonna happen after this? Like, how the hell do we get out of this? But no, it's really really good. I'd suggest, or not suggest, recommend playing it. Sorry.
I'd recommend suggesting it.
Yes,
um,
just like Steam does.
the so you said the Wise games are all or E's. Excuse me. I've
Yep,
said Wise my whole life whenever I see it.
that's fine. However you want to say it.
um, you said that they're all the continuation, but are they all? Is it like Final Fantasy where they're all basically the same game as like the main line Final Fantasy? They're all basically the same mechanics, but like refined, or do they try like different genres?
No, they- they've always been like action based combat, but they start off really basic, but then they advance more and more as the series goes on. Like the first couple of games, they use what's called bump combat, because this was back on, I think the first couple of games came out on the was it the Turbo Graphics 16 maybe? I
Oh
could be
wow.
wrong. But the bump combat would be like where you bump into an enemy and you automatically slash your sword and you have to attack him from different angles so that you don't get hit. Uh,
Ah,
but they really do a great job of making it even better, because it becomes more like hack and slashy kind of, and you learn sweet new abilities, and uh, it's pretty dope.
cool. Um,
They're a good bunch of them are on GOG, good old games,
which
and
I've
they're on
never
sale quite
never opened in
often.
my life, which is
You should.
I know that
Dev
sounds
games are pretty
crazy.
cheap.
Speaking of games that are pretty dope, I've got another game that I know we haven't talked about, so it's exciting.
Oh, it's
Um,
gonna be dope.
I really love exploring the cities in Infamous 1 and 2. I
Oh,
guess we talked about one of the endings or one of the but that's we haven't actually talked about Infamous 1 and 2. I loved Infamous 1. Um Fun story I guess about I never ever would have checked that game out cuz I had barely heard about it. But in college, the PlayStation Network went down for a few weeks, maybe a month. Do you remember that?
I don't. Oh yeah. No, I think so. That was around like 2010 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it was in the Black Ops times where
Okay.
I was really into that. And yeah, the PlayStation Network went down for a few weeks, so no one could download games. No one could play online games. So they were like, "Hey, we're sorry, but to say that we're sorry, you can get 2 games for free out of this list of games." And I got Little Big Planet and Infamous. And boy, was I pleasantly surprised with how good and fun Infamous is. It's man, how do I even? It's a big old city, and you're a man with electrical powers. You get your energy from electricity, like you literally hold a button to suck it out of stuff, and then you can fly around, you can glide around, you can you can skateboard on power lines, and it's just so fun to fly around, run around, shooting things with your electrical hands, throwing electrical grenades, doing the whole Emperor Palpatine thing.
Oh yeah.
And I like 100%ed that game after I beat the story. I went around the map to make sure I did every climbing challenge, every beat up all the bad guys challenge. There was nothing on the map that I didn't do. It was just so much fun. I had to keep going. And then Infamous 2 came out, and somehow, some way, it controlled even better. Like, there were things about Infamous 1 that were bad that I didn't even realize. Like the gliding, they improved so much. You just had so much better control, and it just made it even more fun to explore this new city of. And I've never had as much fun in a city-based open world game as Infamous 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's cool. I've always wanted to play those, but back in those my bad. Back in those days, I was only or not an Xbox only guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like a, but I think the closest I ever got to that was maybe Prototype, but that was still pretty far off. It looks cool though.
Yeah, those two are always compared. Whenever I think of one, I think of the other. They had to have come out like close to the same time.
I think so. Well, yeah, I think so. Um, Speaking of sucking, the next one on my list is Sunset Overdrive. Have you ever
Oh,
experienced that one before? It's experience.
I've never
It's
experienced it, but I've
oh
definitely
gosh,
I've seen lots about it.
it's super fun. So basically, and this is also completely open world, but it's called Sunset City basically, and it's just overrun by mutants, which were people that were turned into or well, mutants, people that were turned into mutants by this company called Fizco because they had this huge party and released this new energy drink called I forget what the energy drink is called, but they basically were 90% of the population is turned into mutants. So they're always stumbling and bumbling through the streets. So the streets are always, well, not streets, but the whole city is constantly overrun with mutants. Um, but yeah, the one of the main points of the game is that you just don't walk or run on the ground normally. You're supposed to just bounce and dash and grind and hooks or not hook slide zip line your way from place to place. There's all sorts of stuff you can bounce on, and when you're in the air, you can do like a little dash boost in the air. You can grind on the power lines, and you can zip line on power lines and stuff like that, and just blast away at mutants and stuff. And what's also super cool is that they again give you a hell of a reason to explore different areas of the world because you can unlock different. There's all sorts of different collectibles, but there's also things you can use to upgrade your weapons, and you can also fully customize your character, like their voice, their hair, all their clothes, and stuff like that. And all the weapons are just fucking outrageous because you'll have one it's called the TN Teddy, and it
Oh,
launches
that's a
teddy
good name.
bears that are strapped with dynamite. There's another one. Oh, what was it? I think it was called like the Dirty Harry, and it's just a revolver, and you just blast mutants away. There's other cool ones that I forget off the top of my head, but it's just a super fun game. It's great.
All those weapons kind of make sense. I was like, who developed this game? I have to remember who developed this game, and it's
It was Insomniac.
Insomniac. And like
Yep.
looking at their collections of games they've made, or I guess their resume of games they've made, is kind of crazy how consistent they've been. They made the Spyro the Dragon series, and then Ratchet and Clank, and then the Resistance series, and then kind of fused Sunset Overdrive, blah blah. And then they made Marvel's Spider-Man, and then they're making the Marvel Spider-Man 2. How?
Yeah,
Jeez, they're just pumping out series. That's crazy.
yeah, they are.
Good for
It's
them.
it's it's wild too. I think that's the only Xbox exclusive game they've ever made.
Yep.
Because I think Sony turned them away at first with that concept.
They have I really love the art style for Sunset Overdrive too. They went all out on the brightness and you don't see that too much, and I love it.
You gotta look at those weapons though. Those are probably the best. Well, the traversal is the best part, but the weapons are just so cool. What was it? Oh yeah, nothing but the hits. It just shoots records and junk and.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh my gosh, the acid sprinkler, that was sweet.
I think it's about time for an ad break. We gotta shout out to our sponsors who are paying us an unreasonable amount of money.
That's right, we do. Yeah. This episode is brought to you by, we'll say King brand crab farms. They be farming those crabs. You see.
We're talking about the crustaceans, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, good. That's the kind of crabs you want to farm.
That's right. Not the pubic lice or whatever other crabs there are. You want the good, tasty crabs. The one you can just crack off their claws and just suck that gorgeous meat right out of them.
And in each branch they've got a claw game that drops a little claw down for you to try and catch your crab before you eat them. So it's like a fun little game. You got to pick which one you want to die.
That's right. They taste even sweeter when you grab one. It then pulls it over to this boiling water pit, and you just drop. Oh my gosh!
You got to hit the button. You have to hit the button for the drop. And it says, "Here comes the drop."
Yep.
Dubstep music explodes.
I was about to say that too. Yeah. And then the whole goddamn fucking thing shakes. Just, oh man! And then you can pick your own sauce to dip it into. You can have cocktail sauce. You can garlic butter. You can
barbecue
sauce. Yeah,
ranch, horseradish, Chick-fil-A sauce, Raisin Cane sauce,
Arby's sauce,
Coca-Cola.
The McDonald's sweet and sour sauce, the Milan Szechuan sauce is only available for a limited time. They've got those sauces there. Pick them up.
They've got it all.
They do have it.
This is a nightmare.
Again, that's King's Crab. King's Crab Farms. Yes, they're delicious crabs. Truly the bounty of the sea.
Thanks.
Wow.
King Crab Farms.
Thanks for killing those crabs.
Man,
love you.
I never would guess that we would say pubic lice on an episode, but here we are.
We've mentioned card captors 3 times, so
it's the same thing. Yeah.
That's true.
Card captors is the pubic lice of anime.
Card capturing anime.
Oh, and man. Okay. Whew, video games that I enjoy.
Not delicious crab meat.
A video game that doesn't have any crabs at all that I love exploring is Red Dead Redemption 2. And
you sure there's no crabs in there?
There is no crabs. I am 95% sure. Because there's the Gulf of Mexico, but I don't think there's any crabs.
There's got to be crabs there. We'll check with Rockstar later. But
Dead
please continue.
2 crabs. If you're Cuban land crabs, no, there's crabs.
Oh man,
it's only in Red Dead Online. Head on over to Rhodes and make your way west towards the large island just off the coast. I've been to that island before. I got a horse.
You're still kind of right, because you're talking about the main, not multiplayer, right? You're talking about just the main game.
Yes, in the main story there are no crabs.
You're good. Yep.
Good, I'm still right. We are the epitome of experts in video games, so we got to keep that going.
Don't you dare take us to court, you sons of bitches.
I didn't know the crabs were in online, Your Honor.
The judge be like, you do have a point though, and then he smacks his gavel
for no reason. Just smacks the gavel.
Not even just slaps it with his bare hand. Oh boy! All right, we're comedic geniuses.
Yeah, we are. That's true. Oh man, Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm specifying Red Dead Redemption 2 over Red Dead Redemption 1 because Red Dead Redemption 2 is the most perfectly realized world that I've ever seen. Like, it's just riding around on your horse. It is just like it is the West. It is the countryside. It's the little towns. It's the roads that just come about naturally from wagons going across it. It's the wildlife that the birds that fly around, the deer that go in front of you. It's just so peaceful. It's I just want to live in that world. I want if I could go back in time, if you gave me a time machine, you're like you go to wherever. I think I might pick the 1800s just to like live in that world. I know it would
Ooh.
suck because there'd be no internet and food would be scarce and I have to farm and stuff, but like it'd be kind of peaceful.
I mean, until somebody comes and kills you and gets away with it.
Well, yeah, but that happens today too. We're not beyond that quite yet.
Right. That's true, I suppose. Yeah,
I
you're right.
fun story about my playthrough of the campaign of Red Dead Redemption 2. Your horse has like stamina and stuff, and I misunderstood how that works. So I held the A button to gallop everywhere when
Yeah.
you're supposed to tap the A button to sprint, and you're supposed to like
Oof.
tap it to, and you can't just continually sprint, so you have to like hold up for your horse to get stamina back. But I never realized that, so I never sprinted anywhere. I only did like a nice slow trot from place to place, and I didn't fast travel a single time, not once,
Oh my
because
lord.
cowboys do not have the ability to fast travel. That is a video game mechanic, and I wanted this to be as real as possible. So I rode my horse everywhere. Me and Buttercup just galloping along, not sprinting because I didn't know that was a thing. And I just loved it. I learned the countryside like the back of my hand and is just, oh, I wish I could experience that for the first time again.
I can imagine you mansplaining that to your wife over dinner, like you're just across the table. Because they did not have fast travel in Wild West times. God damn it! And you slam
It's a
your hands
video
on the
game
table.
mechanic. That's why I used to play games on easy too, because I was like, if I'm Kratos, Kratos doesn't die. He never dies. Like dying is a video game concept. My brain gets stuck on this so often. I'm like, the game over screen isn't real. In the real timeline, Kratos goes through and kills everyone and never dies. So why would I allow that to even happen?
You slam your hands on the table, and your glass of like Sunny D falls over. I feel like, I feel that way about like I got card games and stuff too. Not like Yu-Gi-Oh, but games that use card. Oh, what's a good no, not Shadowverse. Well, I think about that too because you as the main character, you're supposed to win all the time, which is cool. But like when you die, it's like no, no, I need to win. I need to advance the story.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, or Halo. John Halo can't die. He has to save everything. So the dying and the respawning, like the only game that does it right is Destiny. Destiny actually has in-game explanations for you dying and respawning. Your little ghost guy takes your body and reforms it. So like I
Oh,
feel okay dying there because it makes sense in the story. They actually put thought into it. Cowboys did not fast travel. They couldn't teleport.
ooh, but so I haven't played RDR2. I'm only gonna call it RDR because I'm a pirate.
Hmm.
But I've only ever really played the first RDR, and one of my favorite. For the brief time I played it, it was hella fun. But the one part where I gave up playing because I was riding my horse, right, and I didn't realize there was a cliff coming up, so I rode my horse off a cliff, and my
Hmm.
horse fucking died.
Yeah, yeah, they
It was
die.
so sad.
Hmm.
Horse died. Luckily, I was all right. I took like maybe a sliver of damage. My horse
Oh
luckily
my gosh.
broke my fall, but I was like, no, no. I forget what my horse's name was. I was shouting it. I was like, no, and I stopped playing it because I'm not gonna get a new horse. I love that horse. Rip horse.
I I'm gonna have to share this to the Twitter on my other YouTube channel. I have a 2 or 3 minute video of just horse accidents that happened to me while playing Red Dead. So I'm gonna have to share that because it's good. Like you
Do
have so many accents with that horse, and I feel so bad because I'm just not good at steering my horse away from danger.
I also feel bad about horses in movies and like when you watch shows like Game of Thrones or something, there's all these sweet innocent horses and they're getting their legs cut off by warriors and stuff in wars and it's like the horse didn't ask for that, man. Hit the guy on the horse. Leave the horse.
Yeah,
The horse is just gonna run away if you get the guy off of there. Like leave the horse alone, my guy.
yeah. Probably don't watch Nope if you don't want bad things to happen to horses.
You said nope, like Nope. Nope.
Yeah, Nope.
Oh, nope.
Um,
Not gonna
Nope.
watch it.
Um, oh gosh, the level of detail in Red Dead Redemption 2 is just insane. Like in cutscenes, when the sun is behind a character, it like shines through their ears, and you can see the blood veins in their ears or their nostrils.
What
It
the
shines through like
fuck?
that, and depending on the temperature, your horse's testicles will be lower when it's warmer, and it'll be higher up when it's colder. Like,
Yes. Yes, that's my
it's
favorite feature of the game.
yeah, it's
Horse
it's
dibs.
it's so, and even going back to Red Dead Redemption 1, riding the horses around and just seeing all the individual muscles move, like they put so much work into those horse animations.
Those
No
are
better
good
horse animations.
testicles.
They nailed the horse testicles, and that's why this is one of my favorite games to explore.
I kind of feel that this doesn't have to deal with testicles. It's the detail, but that's how I feel about Grand Theft Auto 5. Granted, I've never played the campaign because I don't give a fuck. I've only played the GTA Online, and the amount of detail they put into the cities, like each different area of the city, like no two areas feel the same because there's all sorts of little small pieces of detail, whether it be like a potted plant here or like a mailbox there. The amount of detail that Rockstar puts into their worlds is baffling.
Yeah,
How much
yeah, it's
how much time have they put into that shit? I'm sure countless hours because they have long release windows. But yes,
one thing that made Red Dead Redemption 2 extra great too was like the amount of buildings that you can actually go into, and holy crap the detail, and you can open all the
that's
drawers, the
cool.
cupboards to find
What?
lots of food and stuff, and or ammo or whatever, and you can find hidden like doors that go into a cellar or whatever. Gosh, I one time when I was playing Red Dead Redemption Online, I was just riding around hunting rabbits or whatever, and I stumbled upon this house, just random house that I never found in the campaign. And I walk inside, and there's like these weird scribblings on the wall and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is creepy. And I go down into the basement, and it's just body parts hanging from the top. There's
Ooh,
body parts everywhere, and the music is so unsettling, and I was absolutely terrified. I was like, what is going to happen when I go out of this house? And I just like turned around and sprinted away. Nothing happened. Like literally nothing happened aside from me finding that house. Oh, so
that's kind of
gosh.
cool. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely they improved that a lot. I remember with pretty much any Grand Theft Auto game, about a good 95% of the buildings you can't go into.
Yeah.
It's really just your house and Bell.
Oh, also Grand Theft Auto 5, I only played the campaign. So we are
Oh,
exact opposite in that regard.
oh my gosh, the online is just so cool. Just cruising around with your friends, just blowing shit up. Oh, it's great.
Oh, that's
Uh,
another game I guess I finished. I didn't like the campaign for Grand Theft Auto 5. I really did not get into it at all. I didn't like any of the main characters. They were so unlikable.
speaking of unlikable, the next one I had is Mokumana Island from Yoku's Island Express, and I kid
Ooh.
because this game I actually really did like. Um, but for those that don't know, it's essentially it's a Metroidvania, but it's I guess it's a pinball style essentially. So you play as Yoku, and he's got this little ball that he rolls around, and you're the postmaster for the island. So you have to go delivering mail and all sorts of other cool stuff. But instead of like other Metroidvanias, would you just be jumping and doing your spin attacks and your charge beams and maybe like whips and shit like that. But this one, there's little flippers and bumpers and shit like that, so you can flip and bump and bounce everywhere, and there's all sorts of cool little new abilities that help you gain access to new areas and new hidden not hidden but oh, yeah, hidden collectibles and stuff like that, or hidden upgrades and stuff. And what's super duper cool is that there's these some of the main rooms where you do like your main puzzles and stuff like that are just they seem like full blown pinball tables, but it's actually just like a part uh of the world or the environment or whatever. And no, it's just it was super fun time. The music is great, the characters are great because they're all bugs, and just pinball is just super sweet. And it only took about 5 minutes to beat, so or not 5 minutes,
5 minutes.
5 hours. I meant to say 5 hours. It took 5 hours to beat. Short and sweet,
That's
and
about how long it takes to do the demo is 5 minutes.
yeah. No, it was super fun to explore though. It's
I
great.
What's great about that game is they came into it with a really unique idea, the Metroidvania but pinball, and they actually nailed it. Because, like, I don't know, if you give a random person that idea, I don't think you nail it every time, but they absolutely did.
Yeah, it was, and there was a lot of detail in the world as well too. There's all sorts of different uh biomes, I guess you would say. Like
Biomes.
I guess like any other Metroidvania, I shouldn't be surprised by biomes anymore. They all do it, but there's you'll go up to like to the very top of the world on the mountains, and they're all snowy and windy and cold, and then there's like a volcano area that's hot and bubbly, and you use that to your advantage, and like you use like the warm air to float shit here and there, and gosh, it's so good, it's so cool.
Um, I feel like I specified at the top that I was like, this doesn't have to be only open world games, but here I go talking about another open world game.
It's fine. Do it. It's our
I
podcast, Tommy.
that's true. That's true. I can say what I want. Pubic lice. Um,
Card captors Sakura.
Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh yeah. No, no, no.
I don't have a lot to say about it, but I just want to say that I really loved what Firewatch did with their exploration.
Ooh.
I'm going to go into a little bit of later game spoilers, so if you still want to play Firewatch, go play Firewatch. It's really good. Um, you play as a park ranger person, and you do park ranger things. Like I remember there was a couple people skinny dipping, so you had to go and tell them off. You could throw their radio in the water or throw their clothes in the water if you wanted to, but it's just going around doing park ranger things, making sure
Right.
something's not on fire. And but the cool thing about it was there's no mini map, there's no waypoints, there's none of that. All you have is an actual map of the forest, a map of the park, and so you have to like navigate yourself by just using
That's
your
cool.
eyes and using the map. And that was really like it just seemed like a really cool thing as you're going through it. And then near the end of the game, there's an actual like forest fire, and there's someone who is stalking you, and you don't know where they are. So you have to like figure out how to get out of this forest fire by using all these. You're supposed to have learned the layout of the park up to that point, and then so you have to use that information for this grand escape. And I was thought that was it was really well done, and I loved the idea behind that.
That is super cool. So like no, not even a compass or anything, just a map.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had a compass, but I don't remember it specifically.
Oh,
Let me Google it real quick. Map and
still.
compass. So yeah, there was
Oh,
a yep, yeah. When you hold up the map, you hold up a compass too.
well, hell yeah. Well, speaking of forest fires, my next pick was the Bean Kingdom in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Maybe y'all have heard of it.
That one almost made my list.
I thought it was super fun. They
Oh
did it
yeah.
like they did an almost Metroidvania kind of thing. Because for those that don't know,
Oh,
basically the
they
Bean
did.
Kingdom is the big world you're in Superstar Saga, but there's little areas that are hidden off until you get new abilities, like when you get the ability to shrink Luigi by just smashing him with a hammer, or you get a spin jump, and oh my gosh, what it's just so fun to just not goof around, but like yeah, just explore different areas with these different goofy little abilities, like the one where you shock Luigi in the ass and he freaks out and runs. Or no, that's the fire. My bad. You burn his ass and he freaks out and runs away. Um, but no, yeah, and there was what was it? The one I think it's like the desert when you're in that like, broken down pirate ship. That whole desert area was super cool to explore because you get to unless I'm thinking of a different game, you use the world the like sandstorms to your advantage, and maybe I am thinking of a different game.
I think
No,
you're
not
thinking
it's
of
the
a
right
different.
game.
Hold on. Desert.
Because you spin jump, and then there'll be like a sandstorm or like a whirlwind just chilling there in the air, and then it'll spin you again,
Oh
and you can
yeah.
jump even further. And
This is Partners in Time.
no, I've never played Partners in Time.
This says Partners in Time. Gritty Desert. All I did was Mario and Luigi Desert, and that's what came up.
Hold the phone.
And this is in the Mushroom Kingdom as well, so even more so.
Hold on, no, this one has Superstar Saga, and it's in a desert. Teehee Valley.
Teehee Valley. Teehee Valley.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you go to the SS Chocola.
Wow, I spelled that way wrong. Okay, yep. Okay, you were right. You were right. I was wrong. I apologize.
You're goddamn right. But no, yeah, the whole game was just fun to explore different areas. Once you get new abilities, and you find all those different little beans that give you different little stat boosts and stuff like that. That was cool. It was a great game.
I had not considered that it's a Metroidvania, but it totally is.
Yeah, it basically is.
Huh. I loved that the really like the big selling point for this game was it was a Mario game not in the Mushroom Kingdom. It was a neighboring kingdom, and I loved how it really felt like that. It wasn't like just a reskinned Mushroom Kingdom. It was like a whole new country that had its own people. It had its own, like, you could tell that they had put a lot of thought into. There's a university. There's an airport.
They have their own soda and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, and it was really
Coca-Cola.
really cool to see, because it was like every other Mario game. You're like, here's the Goombas, here are the Koopas, but this one it was like, what the heck are these enemies?
God, what a good game.
Great game.
I'm gonna have to play that again. After we finish this, I'm gonna play it.
I've got two more games. One is really good, and one is just not as conversational. So I'm going to do the really good one.
That's fine. I've got one left, so
Perfect.
I'll be bounced off perfectly.
Tinykin. I love Tinykin.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, do I love Tinykin. It's a Pikmin like, but I've never played Pikmin, so Pikmin might be better. Who knows? I had the opportunity to play Pikmin 20 years ago, but that never happened.
Oops.
Tinykin, yeah, it's like Pikmin, but it's in a house. And what I really love about it, it's so, like, just saying it in words doesn't describe it, but like the rooms are actual rooms. Like the bathroom is a bathroom, and you have to climb over all the toilet paper and stuff, and the bedrooms are bedrooms, and there's all these different cupboards to do, and it's just a joy to use the Tinykin to build ladders, to throw bombs, to just make this little diorama world work. And it's just so relaxing. Like, I never felt pressure or panic or anything. It was like, go at your own pace. Just here's golden fluff shining everywhere to show you where you haven't been. Just go wild, and it's so fun.
Is there a main like point to the game, or do you just explore until there's nothing left to explore in the game's
Man,
like? And that was it.
No, there's definitely a story, but it's not very well told. Gosh, like the very beginning and the very ending almost feel like they're from a different game. Like, the very beginning story is like, hey, I'm Sherby Derby, that's my name, and we live on a planet called Glorpon, and we think that we actually came from this planet called Earth. We scanned it, and so I'm going to go use my ship to figure out if that's where we came from. And then it cuts to you being a tiny person in a big house.
Oh, like no transition in between?
Nope.
What the hell?
Nope. His ship disappears, and then cut to gameplay, where you're a tiny person in a big house.
Ew.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, right on. At least the gameplay was good, I suppose.
Yeah, the gameplay definitely carries it. So good.
Wait, is it what's the, I guess, like the main objective in each area? Or
Oh,
whatever
you want to repair your ship, and
oh,
so you got to find. Does that sound like Pikmin? I think Pikmin
yeah,
has a
that's
ship.
exactly Pikmin.
You have to go in each area and find a big part that you can put together on your ship to transport you back.
I don't know. Yeah, well, one of these days I'll let you borrow Pikmin.
Yeah, my GameCube's gone. I don't know what happened to it. That would
Have
actually
you
be kind of
deleted
poetic. Here's the disc finally. You can play it, and I don't have a GameCube anymore.
it? Sad, sad clown opera music is playing, and you're just on your knees holding the disc in the air.
I can't even
Oh
pretend
man.
to put it in a different console because it's the tiny GameCube disc. I love the little GameCube disc. I need to put a picture on the Twitter. I found my little carrying case for the GameCube discs. Did I talk about this
Oh,
already?
I don't think so. No.
It's a tiny little thing that where it zips closed and it's got a little hook so you can hook it on your backpack and carry your GameCube games around. Because we didn't have a portable Nintendo Switch.
Oh, I think I might have one of those too. By the shape of like an earbuds case, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. Just holding these little GameCube discs.
Gosh, I can't imagine ever bringing your game discs anywhere in like a CD case anymore. Because now it's just like, oh, let me download my profile or something.
Yeah.
I'll download my games here real quick on your fucking one 1 gigabit internet that'll it'll download in like 2 seconds. What a, so
Or
wild.
heck, you can just stream a game. Like I've been playing Nino
Oh
Kuni
yeah.
on my laptop by just streaming it. Don't even have to download it.
Speaking of streaming, the next game I had is Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and just exploring Dracula's castle. It's sweet. It's
That's where Dracula's castle is?
well, I mean, there's all sorts of Dracula. It changes every time because you always whoop his ass, and then he goes somewhere else and makes a new castle, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's actually a hilarious image. Like, you beat him in the game, so he's like, just goes somewhere and starts construction brick by brick.
He's just he's on the ground, like just bruised and bleeding, and he's cowering, like poop poop poop. Please don't hit me again, Mr. Belmont. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and then he shows up and he's like, this guy, again, I just finished laying down the foundation.
There's a sign like "Coming soon, Dracula's,
Dracula's
castle."
castle.
The Belmonts are just like they cross their arms and like shake their head, like, "Dude, what?"
You have to go through the proper city ordinances.
But yeah, but what's so what's cool about the what's called Igavanias as opposed to like the traditional Castlevania games, like the original game to whatever the fuck all those you go from like stage to stage, and eventually get to Dracula, and then you whoop his ass. But what's cool about the Igavania ones, which would be like Symphony of the Night, Aria of Sorrow, and all those other ones, um you just explore Dracula's castle. You can go pretty much anywhere and do almost anything. You just explore in one direction. And if you happen to find a place you can't go to yet, whatever, just beeline and go find another area you can explore, and then you'll you'll eventually find different little upgrades for yourself so you can access new areas, and you don't always go in one specific order like you would in like a Metroid game, because those would be like, oh hey, you come to this room first and get the screw attack. Now you're good. But on this game, you'll go in one area and like you'll find say like a bat form that lets you fly, or you'll find boots that give you a double jump or something, but you might not necessarily get that exact order in your next playthrough because you can just go wherever the hell you want and do anything, and it's cool. And then when you beat the game, you have to go through the castle again, but it's turned upside down, so that's pretty sweet.
Wait, literally upside down? Like, are you
Yeah,
walking on the ceilings, or is gravity still normal for you, but everything's upside down?
gravity's still normal. Yes,
Oh,
you're
okay.
everything's upside down. You're walking on the floor, or the walking on the roof, which is now the floor.
Okay, so I have a couple questions going back to our previous thought experiment.
Yes.
Dracula is building these castles. Is he purposefully leaving these items around, or is he accidentally leaving them places? Are these his closets that the Belmonts are going into? What do you think?
I'd like to think that Dracula is just this bumbling oaf of a vampire, and he like trips and like, whoops, I dropped these magic boots.
But he's in
But
such a rush to finish building that he's like, I'll come back for it later.
like, fuck, these vampire killers are coming, dude. We gotta hurry this shit up. Like he's talking, he's got the foreman on his Motorola Razor. He's like, dude, we need to
We need to get the
like,
stained glass windows up.
yeah, dude, the moat. Oh my gosh, the
The
moat,
moat.
please.
These chandeliers are missing 2 diamonds. I can't have them missing 2 diamonds.
and his little minions cruising around the castle. They're just workers. They're just there to help set up like his like IKEA tables and like his bed frames
IKEA tables.
Yeah. They're just
I'm sure Transylvania is nearby Sweden. It has to be.
has to be. That's where he's getting all those sweet tables and chandeliers, man.
And then when he flips the castle upside down, that was probably his like thing. He was like, "This will finally get these guys to go away. If it's upside down, they can't get to me," and they just climb it anyways.
And they get back to Dracula, and he's just he's kind of like flinches, like the Belmont like raises his hand to talk or whatever, and Dracula's like, don't do it again.
I love this. This is making me love Castlevania more than I ever have before.
Oh man, Dracula, that lovable idiot.
My last game is it's the Yakuza series, but specifically because just the amount of detail they put into the areas of Japan there. I've never been to Japan. I want to go someday, but man, if it's anything like it looks like in Yakuza, oh, that would be so cool.
I have the same feeling in Yakuza 7. Each area is just super like and there's just like Grand Theft Auto and RDR2. There's a lot of little bits and pieces, little small pieces of detail you see here and there. Like you'd be like, man, I wish I could live in that apartment, or like, man, I wish I could sit in this bar and have a drink and not accidentally elbow someone because these bars are tiny.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like Yakuza has ruined whatever my first experience in Japan will be, because I will be expecting a lot of crazy things that won't end up happening.
A lot of fights against people in baby costumes.
Yeah, exactly. Or man, I don't know. There's keys lying around everywhere to lockers.
I was gonna be screaming Ichiban the whole time.
Still gotta play that. I still gotta play that one. I've only played 0, 1, and 2.
You'll get there eventually. They're pretty long games, but you'll get there.
They're very long games. But yeah, that's all the games, the worlds to explore, right? We talked about all of them.
That is it. That's all of them.
Yeah. Every other game exploration sucks.
But if you happen to find one that does not suck, where can they do with that?
They can open their window and scream really, really loud.
I'll lean out the window. I'll lean out my open window with my little like hearing megaphone thing and be like, oh, that's a good one. Okay. I'll write it down on my little notepad.
The digital version of that though is Twitter. You can find us on Twitter, Super Pod Saga. Email us at superpodsaga@gmail.com. We have an Instagram. It is Super Pod Saga. We have a Facebook, which is Tommy and Aaron's Super Pod Saga. And we have a YouTube. It's Super Pod Saga. I just today uploaded me playing Castlevania 2, my first Castlevania game. I might have found Dracula's castle. I definitely found a castle and walked in and then walked out.
There was a lot of those with those fucking flying eyeballs knocking you back and forth.
Man, that's just annoying. But yeah, check that out. There's probably more videos since you're listening to this. So yeah, anything I'm missing, Aaron?
They can always check out our website, which will take you to anything else we have. I guess the link tree does that too. You can look in the bios for Twitter and Instagram and Facebook if you're there, and you can find us anywhere pretty much. Yeah,
but to give you a taste of what's next, what are we going to talk about next week, Aaron?
I think it'd be really sweet to talk about canceled games.
Ooh, yes. I've already got one. Man, I don't even remember what this was going to come up for, but I've got one in mind.
Yeah,
I got to write it down.
I think I've talked about like one on the Twitter that I would really want to go into. I think there's a couple I should go along with that, but yeah, this is going to be good.
And it is typed, so we will talk about it next week. All right, look forward to that next week. Listeners, thank you for checking us out. Thank you for all your support and your kind messages and words. Have a great day. Bye.
Yep, aloha.